Now we return to local news. Homes across the borough are set to be run on cheaper heat from a new council-run company. London Waste Limited, which runs the Eco Park in Advent Way, Edmonton, operates a power station which burns 500,000 tonnes of our household waste every year. In doing so, it boils water, and the steam thus created turns turbines, which generate electricity. The steam is then released into the atmosphere. It is planned that the new company, Lee Valley Heat Network, will take that steam, turn it back into hot water, and channel it through pipes to new housing estates. The intention is to create a cheaper form of heat for residents in Enfield. The power station is situated close to the £1.5 billion regeneration site of Meridian Water, where 5,000 new homes will benefit from this system. However, Ladderswood Estate in Southgate would become the first homes to have this form of heating, as they will be completed before the Meridian Water scheme. Developers at the Southgate site, which will provide more than 500 new homes, have begun work to create a central boiler underneath the new estate and will be linked to the central site once completed. As a result, the borough would boast the first low-carbon heat network in the borough. I think they mean in the country. Enfield Borough Council Cabinet Member for Economic Development, Councillor Alan Sitkin, said, "This is a hugely ambitious scheme which could provide heating to more than 6,000 homes and businesses across the Lee Valley in its first phase. For the first time, we will be providing our communities with low-carbon energy from local heat sources while creating hundreds of jobs in the process. This will revolutionise the way we heat our homes and provide energy to business. We are also setting ourselves up as an ethical operator in what is currently an unregulated heat market, helping protect local consumers by ensuring a fair price for their heat. We plan to work with other authorities to roll out this exciting model across the capital in years to come." Matthew Pencharge, the Mayor of London's Energy and Environment Advisor, said, "These important energy plans are part of major regeneration work set to transform the Lee Valley area. We need to do everything possible to create a more secure, cost-effective and sustainable heat and power supply across London. We know that supporting schemes like this using locally sourced energy can reduce bills, increase our energy security, lower carbon emissions and create jobs. The Mayor will continue to work closely with Enfield to push forward the infrastructure needed to regenerate the Lee Valley."
And speaking of new homes, a new block of flats is to be built with no parking spaces, and it's been approved. The 6-storey block of 44 flats will be built in Station Road next to New Southgate Rail Station. The plans were approved at an Enfield Borough Council Planning Committee last Tuesday, even after parking concerns were raised with the council, admitting motorists already park illegally in surrounding streets due to high demand for places. Councillor Don Delman voted against the planning application and stated that the block would be an eyesore. He said, "I fear we have gone back to the 1960s, where there are no places for children to play and people are crammed into small spaces. This plan has so many holes in it and there is a clear lack of parking." Transport Officer Jeff Burridge said the controlled parking zones might be put in place to prevent the high level of parking spaces being taken up by commuters. The flats will replace premises used by a motor company and a storage company.
Enfield and Haringey sprinter Margaret Adeoye missed out on a place in the women's 400-metre final at the Commonwealth Games on Tuesday evening after finishing third in her semi-final heat. Adeoye, 29, was just under 2 seconds behind Botswana's Amantle Motsho, who finished in second place in a time of 50.96, whilst Adeoye crossed the line at 42.48. Lagos-born Adeoye improved on her time of 53.98 in her heat on Sunday, qualifying for Tuesday's semi-final by coming second to Jamaican Noveline Williams Hills, 52.39. However, Adeoye was unable to mark her maiden Commonwealth Games with a shot at the medal. Only 3 members of Team England's 4x400-metre quartet have been named in advance: Emily Diamond, Christine and Victoria Ohurogu, and Adeoye in contention to take the 4th spot. Fellow England 400-metre runners Shana Cox and Kelly Massey both qualified for the semi-finals from their heats, with Massey reaching tomorrow night's final in a time of 52.34. Cox, at 2.57, also fell at the semi-final hurdles, finishing 5th in her heat. Enfield-born squash player Alison Waters missed out on a medal in the women's singles competition after losing her third-place playoff match against Joelle King on Monday. World number 4, King, comfortably beat Waters 3-0, 11-7, 11-7, 11-5 to take bronze in the third-place playoff after Waters had lost out to England teammate Laura Massaro in the semi-finals. The 3-1 loss, 5-1, 14-12, 3-11 and 8-11 to Massaro in the last 4 does not spell the end of Waters' games, although with the doubles competitions getting underway on Tuesday evening. England have been drawn in Pool A for the doubles alongside Wales, Papua New Guinea and Trinidad and Tobago. Waters, 30, was handed a bye in the round of 64 before beating Papua New Guinea's Eli Webb 3-0 last Thursday. In the last 16, Waters overcame Australian Rachel Grinman 3-1 before beating Deepika Palikal of India 3-1 in the last 8.
A significant difference in life expectancy from the east to the west of the borough has been revealed. A survey posted by Healthwatch Enfield in its first annual report suggests that Upper Edmonton has the lowest average life expectancy of 76.2 years, while the western ward of Highlands has the highest at 86.2 years. The report's map of deprivation in Enfield shows that 3 wards in the borough, Lower Edmonton, Edmonton Green and Upper Edmonton, are in the bottom 10% nationally for life expectancy. A man born in Edmonton Green in the east of the borough is currently expected to have a lifespan 8 years lower than a man born in Grange Ward to the west. However, a woman born in Upper Edmonton, again in the east, is expected to live 13 years less than a woman born in Highlands. Lorna Reith, Chief Executive of Healthwatch Enfield, said the watchdog is very concerned by the latest figures. She said, "We are very concerned at the level of health inequality in the borough. Although the reasons are quite complex, it is vitally important that both health authorities and the council focus their attention on improving life expectancy in the east of the borough. The divide can be seen clearly where the Great Cambridge Road, the A10, cuts through the borough, with the most deprived areas being the 3 Edmonton wards and the least deprived the Cockfosters, Grange and Highlands wards." Councillor Don McGowan, Cabinet Member for Health at Enfield Borough Council, said, "Incidences of heart attack, stroke and cancer are particularly high in parts of the borough. These are the reasons we have such a big difference in life expectancy across the borough. The council has had a strong focus on health inequalities for a while now. However, the Health and Wellbeing Board introduced additional targeted programs to reduce the life expectancy gap. The latest figures show an improvement in the figures. The life expectancy gap for women has now reduced to 8.6 years, and that for men is now 8.7 years. It is too early to say if this is as a result of the Health and Wellbeing Board's initiatives or due to other factors. Be that as it may, the programmes continue and will be introduced in other areas that have recently given cause for concern. These areas are Chase, Jubilee, Enfield Lock and Ponders End. Councillor McGowan also told the Enfield Independent that programmes such as stop smoking campaigns and improving cancer screening had been introduced. Other programmes included establishing a Tobacco Control Alliance advertising campaign, encouraging people to dial 999 immediately if they think they might be having a stroke, Healthy Hearts advertising, additional training sessions for GPs, health kiosks in GP surgeries to measure blood pressure and weight, improved cancer screening services and encouraged uptake, and rolling out additional NHS health checks starting in the southeast of the borough.
And now we have two readers' letters. The first is from Malcolm Pryor of Swan Way, Enfield. He writes, "As an 81-year-old, widowed last August, I have been looking to find things to do locally, and the opening of Albany Park breathes new life into the area. I spent Friday and Saturday evening having a great time enjoying the open-air film shows of Grease and The Hangover and making several new friends. There was a real sense of community with everybody relating to each other, and I look forward to many more enjoyable events there. Congratulations to everyone who was behind this wonderful project." And the second letter is from Catherine Aldridge of First Avenue, Enfield. She says, "I would like to write in support of Enfield's Mini Holland bid. I have lived in Enfield for most of my life, and although I am able to ride a bike, I consider the roads in Enfield far too dangerous. Where cycle lanes exist, they often disappear, and cyclists have to ride perilously close to other vehicles. In April, I visited Valkenswaard in the Netherlands. Cyclists there had their own designated cycle lanes. Rules of the road ensured that larger vehicles always, without fail, gave way to cyclists, and drivers treated cyclists with courtesy and respect. At large junctions, cyclists were given their own turn to cross. Not only was I able to cycle with confidence, but my grandchildren, aged 5 and 7, also cycled everywhere safely. The town was prosperous. The shops, bars and cafes in the town centre were thriving. The hotel in the centre of town where I stayed was used for choir practice, and almost all the choristers cycled home. I hope that when Mini Holland is set up in Enfield, we will all be able to enjoy the benefits that it will bring. Cycling is a healthy, sociable, cheap and efficient mode of transport that does not pollute."
A junior school is helping to fight hunger amongst its pupils with a free breakfast club. The Breakfast Club at Eldon Junior School in Eldon Road, Edmonton, has been running for 4 years, and the school has now teamed up with charity Magic Breakfast and is free of charge for parents. The charity has made the school one of its flagship partners, and Associate Head Teacher Samantha Williams is hoping the school can gain more funding to increase the club. She said, "We have 1,200 pupils at the school, and at the moment we can provide a free breakfast for 60 to 80 pupils. We would love to be able to increase the size and give more children a free breakfast." The school discovered that more than a third of pupils are not eating breakfast before school. As well as the club, the school makes food available at registration and has the teapot, which gives out breakfast, tea and coffee to parents. Ms. Williams added, "Some parents have seen a cut in benefits or are on lower incomes, so we are always here to help give parents a helping hand when need be. Breakfast is the most important meal of the day, and the club helps children make a positive start to school because a child needs everything from school, not just education." Children at the club also thank the People's Postcode Lottery for becoming the largest donor to Magic Breakfast and helping to keep the Breakfast Club free of charge.
And now a letter from Andy Theodoru of Winchmore Hill Road, Winchmore Hill, titled, "Our Recent Shootings a Sign of the Times." I write in utter disgust and dismay at hearing of another shooting and stabbing in Edmonton on Saturday, July the 12th. We hardly have to dream up a fantasy image of a Bronx-type ghettoized existence where people are afraid to walk the streets, for it is already occurring in the streets of Edmonton today. It never used to be that way. Increased shootings seem to be a sign of the times in a world where guns and knives are tolerated. Just when will these senseless and brutal crimes stop? I know this could and does happen in the leafiest and quietest of places. Only last week my friend's son was senselessly mugged for his mobile phone at knife point in another area of North London. But the fact that this is happening in Edmonton, which is known to have one of the highest murder rates, points to the issues of gangs yet again. A lack of respect for fellow human beings and any sense of social responsibility seems to be the root cause in the disease of modern society. In senior schools, there needs to be more initiatives to connect with gang members or would-be gang members and to show them that there is a different route available to them. Senseless violence is glamorized by computer games and films cast as entertainment. This further fuels the lack of moral fibre in society and will lead to a breakdown in the social system. The barriers in society between class systems need to be broken down, starting with a shake-up in the educational system. A new, more equal structure needs to be put in place where youth have more than senseless muggings on their CVs. One in which they will want to contribute to society in a positive way rather than destroy it and their victims' lives in the process. We have but one world, and although we don't live in an ideal society by any means, given the chance with increased interception of gangland activities by police and clamping down, our world in North London could be so much better. And that letter is from Andy Theodorou.
There's another letter here. I would like to commend Dave Day's letter regarding parking fines. That was under the heading Crimes Get More and More Serious, which was in opinion in July the 23rd. Some people's ability to delude themselves into thinking that they are so important that trifling things like parking restrictions can't possibly apply to them make the world a much poorer place. To repeat his advice, if you don't want to pay parking fines, don't break the law. It really is that simple. And that's from Geraldine Sidoli of Lavender Gardens, Enfield. And there's another letter about your local park. On Saturday morning, I joined volunteers from the Friends of Enfield Playing Fields group, litter picking. We were clearing the litter with kit provided by the Mayor of London's Capital Clean-Up Initiative. This was the big society in action. Our Friends of the Park groups do fantastic work in our parks. What happened on Saturday was just one example of the work carried out by our volunteer Friends of the Park group. The Friends groups plant trees, get into rivers and clean them, and work with the council to hold events to get people using our parks. These groups are vital in maintaining our parks to the standard that residents expect and deserve. This week it is Love Parks Week. If you love your local park and wish to volunteer, please think about joining your local Friends of the Park group. You will be joining like-minded people and have fun. And that letter's from Councillor Joanne Laban, Town Ward and Deputy Leader of the Opposition on Enfield Borough Council.
Fresh appeals have been made over the death of a man found badly burnt under a railway arch 4 years ago. The scorched body of Kester David, 53, was found in an archway behind the Travis Perkins building in Broomfield Lane, Palmer's Green on Wednesday, July the 7th, 2010. The part-time bus driver and keen DJ appeared on CCTV entering the Texaco service station in Lordship Lane, Wood Green, the night before his death at 9 p.m. He bought petrol in a jerry can, but when he tried to put it in his Ford Transit, his van had broken down. The RAC fixed his van by 11 p.m. 4 hours later, a black man is seen on the footage entering the same petrol station and also buys petrol in a jerry can. A man was then seen at 3:55 a.m. wearing the same clothes as the man at the petrol station, carrying a jerry can, walking along Green Lanes towards Broomfield Lane. At 4:20 a.m, a bright light was seen on Travis Perkins' CCTV come from under the arches. Residents heard screams coming from that area. Mr. David's body was found the following morning. Police say the area where his body was found is difficult to get to and can only be reached by climbing over a metal fence or walking down a steep concrete embankment. His mother, who is 80 years old, has made a plea for witnesses to come forward. She said, "When the detectives informed me that the burnt body of a bus driver had been found, the one thing I hoped in my heart was that he was already dead when he was set alight. No mother should have to bury their child under such horrifying circumstances. I appeal to anyone out there who may have heard his cry for help or seen anything unusual on the night of July the 6th to 7th, 2010, to come forward, however small the information. I am sure a third party was involved and they must be stopped from doing this again." Detective Chief Inspector Noel McHugh said Kester was a hard-working, well-respected individual in his local community, and I am committed to finding out why he died. Despite continued efforts to identify the circumstances surrounding Kester's death, it remains unexplained, and we appeal to anyone who can assist with information to come forward. The police are keen to speak to a man who answered Mr. David's phone 2 days before his death. They are also keen to find Mr. David's phone, a BlackBerry Curve, which was used on July the 14th and 15th, 2010, in the Wood Green area. 2 weeks after his death, the Enfield Safer Neighbourhood team received an email from someone called Sharon, who claims to know who was responsible. The police are anxious to speak to this person. Anyone with information should call 020 8785 8099.
On a lighter note, quiz panellist and editor of Private Eye Ian Hislop answered questions from pupils at an Enfield school. Mr. Hislop, who is a regular panellist on BBC Two's satirical show Have I Got News for You, visited Ashmole Academy in Cecil Road, Southgate, to give them words of wisdom about his television work and political knowledge. Head girl Lily Gandy said, "I loved it. The whole event left me feeling that it is possible to achieve anything in your career if you work hard and enjoy it." Fellow pupil Anthony Constantinou said he was great, funny, original, a breath of fresh air. Rob Haig, assistant head teacher, said Ashmole Academy is very grateful to Ian for giving up his time and hopes he may visit again in the near future.
A council finance chief who admitted it was not ideal for a £4 shop to open in a mall in one of the most deprived parts of the borough now insists that the local authority welcomes the bargain basement shop. In fact, Mayor of Enfield, Ali Bakir, did the honours by cutting the ribbon to mark the opening of national retailer Pound World's shop within metres of the entrance to rival Poundland in Edmonton Green Centre on last Thursday. Last week, Cabinet Member for Finance Andrew Stafford was reluctant to endorse yet another bargain bin store in an area the council has earmarked for widespread economic regeneration, but despite his fears that a cluster of discount shops reinforces the impression that poverty is endemic, Mr. Stafford then welcomed the decision of Mr. Bakir to open the store while cameras from Channel 4 series Pound Wars were filming. And he denied that this in any way celebrates the fact that the people of Edmonton depended on cut-price retailers. Mr. Stafford said, "The Mayor undertakes a significant number of engagements at a wide range of venues across a wide range of subjects. The Council works actively to encourage respected national retailers to open stores which offer jobs and income to Enfield residents at a time of economic need." Mr. Bakir told the Advertiser, "We welcome any investors who create jobs and incomes for the Council and lower the cost of shopping for the community." He denied that a close cluster of cheap and cheerful retailers ghettoised the environment. "I guess that Pound World has done surveys in the area and found out that there is a demand for it," he said.
A festival celebrating Persian culture begins at Arts Depot today. That was Wednesday, July the 30th. The London Persian English International Theatre Festival opens at the venue in Nether Street, North Finchley, with a segment of the epic Shahnameh, the Persian Book of Kings poem. It was penned more than 1,000 years ago by the revered Abul Qasim Ferdowsi and has been rewritten for a modern audience by the Iran-born writer Reza Daneshvar. Artistic director of the festival, Susan Farakina, reveals that the celebration of Persian culture has returned for a second year after the rave reception it received first time out. This year the festival is bigger and better, promises Susan. We are in the wonderful Arts Depot in North Finchley, and we are hoping to attract audiences of between 300 and 400 people. Susan, who is a director herself, says that the highlights of this year's festival is the emphasis it places on celebrating the Persian diaspora. The event is showcasing work by the people who may not have been born in Iran, but who have grown up within Persian culture. Persian culture is not just limited to Iranians, she stresses, explaining that Persian dialects are spoken in parts of Afghanistan and Tajikistan. She adds that in North London there is a growing hunger for representations of Persian culture and identity in the arts. In Barnet alone, there are almost 5,000 of us, and you can see it in Finchley, she says. All around the Arts Depot, there are Iranian shops and restaurants, and of course, this festival is ideal for English speakers interested in learning more about this culture, as all performances will feature subtitles in English. Tickets for each performance throughout the festival cost £12, and a festival pass can be bought for £100. For more information or to buy tickets, call the booking line on 07804 958 676, and apologies if I've mispronounced some names.
A new cricket pitch has come to Ponders End Park in time for the new season. At a cost of £10,000, the artificial pitch at the park in Sedcote Road will be free for anyone to hone in their batting or bowling skills. Enfield Borough Council's Cabinet Member for Environment and Community Safety, Councillor Chris Bond, said, "We listened to what residents and park users wanted and installed this wicket in response to what they asked for. We want to encourage as many people as possible to become involved in sport. It is good exercise and a great way to adopt a healthier lifestyle. I'd encourage all cricket fans, whatever their age or ability, to come along." We have now reached the end of our programme for this week. Thank you for listening. So, from the team of
Anna, Angela,
John.
and me, the other John, and on the controls it's
Robin.
It's goodbye.
Bye.